It's March 28th, 2020. It's been raining here in Ohio, and we're starting to lose track of what day it is. We've been at home now for over 2 weeks, and it's pretty strange. It's new for all of us, but we're going to be okay, and there is hope. It won't last forever, and it will come to an end. But in the meantime, we pray for the sick, and we thank God for everyone who's helping. I heard some really good advice this week, that we shouldn't be consumed by what's happening, but we should be informed without being overwhelmed. We should wake up, we should take showers, we should keep living, and most of all, try to find the joy in the surprising places in this time. If you're feeling isolated, maybe pick up the phone and call a friend or family member, and texts and emails don't count. We may be physically distanced, but we are not separated from each other's hearts and our smiles, and most of all from the love that we share. More than anything, we know that nothing can separate us from the love of God. God is good, and we are loved.
Shadow, I will be your strength. One thing's for sure, I am your Lord. Through the chaos, I will be your joy. When you're finished, I have so much more. In the waiting, I'm an open door. Stand still and know I am your Lord. There'll be times when you're up and times when you're down. I'm never too far. Just look around and you'll find me. I'm by your side, arms open wide. I am good, you are loved. 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 What was and is covered by the one who was and is. You're covered by love. What was and is covered by the one who was and is. You're covered by love. I am good, you are loved. I am good, you are loved. I am good, you are loved. Oh, I am good, you are loved. There'll be times when you're up and times times when you're down, I'm never too far. Just look around and you'll find me. I'm by your side, arms open wide. I am good, you are loved. I am good, you are loved. I am good, you are loved. Oh, I am good, you are loved. So no matter what comes or goes, one thing that you must know is that I am good, you are loved. I am good, you are loved. I am good, you are loved. Oh, I am good, you are loved.
Thank you for joining us for CASA today. We're so glad that you decided to watch, and we think that you'll like this episode. We have a friend of ours, Pastor Bill Dandreano. He's from Beacon, New York, and he pastors the church Salem Tabernacle, which is a wonderful place. We had the opportunity to visit there this past year, and it was great. And we love Bill, and we're so grateful for him being willing to be on CASA today. So here he is.
Father Bill, it is so good to see you today, and I want to thank you for being with us in this episode of CASA. Pastor Bill has been such a good friend to me, and he's one of the, you know how you have those friends that you can just call, and there's no aim, there's no real agenda, there's just, hey, I want to talk to you. He's that guy. And yet, in the midst of all of that, he's going to drop some fire, some sort of wisdom, and make you laugh all at the same time. One of the greatest guys that I know, one of the greatest pastors I know, and he pastors a beautiful community. Pastor, I was thinking about this earlier. You pastor one of the true multicultural churches. It's like one of the most multicultural churches I've ever been to in my life. Can you talk about your community there? And I'm gonna get it right because I am infamous for calling it Salem, New York. The church is Salem Tabernacle, but it's in Beacon, New York. Tell us about your church.
First of all credit to our church being multicultural goes to my predecessor, Pastor Father Mark Arstead. I think everybody heard him last week, or some people heard him last week. He does, in his own body, he is a convergent person on a multicultural level. He's all the things to all people, and so he's done a good job, especially by using the medium of music to really bring the church into a dynamic where you have white people and black people and Asian people and Spanish people and young people and old people, and he's done a really good job with it. I've inherited something beautiful, and doing my best to not mess it up is basically what's going on. I'm trying my hardest to not turn it back into a stiff white church, but I don't think that people will let that happen. I think music and preaching and the kinds of ministries you have, I think those three things really, if you're being smart with them, your music, your preaching, and not the ministries, but the types of ministries you have, can bring that dynamic to the church.
So speaking about your church, I want to get to these questions now. We are about to see the spike in many communities here. You made the decision to transition your services into an online format. Why don't you have any faith?
Yeah, I've been hearing the same stuff you're hearing, JP. People saying, if you had more faith, you'd go to church. You're letting, the prince of the power of the air stop you from having service. And like, first of all, plague is not martyrdom, number one. You know, we had an event at our church where we had people from the Muslim community, the Jewish community, the Buddhist community, all come to our church with the mayor and different politicians to talk about unity. In that meeting, there was obviously the threat for violence. And so if you shut down your church for that, I think you need to check yourself, because violence is martyrdom, and we all need to be ready for something along those lines. Virus is not martyrdom. Virus is something that it's part of brokenness, but it's not an evil demonic attack. It's the world being broken. And my thing is, any pastor who can't let go of his church for any amount of weeks needs to seriously check his faith at the door of the faith that's been operative in him prior to that. You know, not having service means you don't know what's happening with your streams of income. You don't know what's happening with those people who need every service imaginable just to hold their life together. You don't know what's happening to that person who just got off of drugs. You don't know what's happening to that elderly person who's lonely and you can't go visit them. I hope this is the most faith I'll ever have to exercise in not having church. This is me taking Isaac up the mountain and saying, God, I trust you with my entire body of believers, because I'm letting go of them.
Yeah.
So anybody who brings that noise, like, that the only way to trust God is to put people directly in harm's way. Like, I don't tell Sophia, hey, trust me by go standing in the middle of the highway. Like, that's just, you don't do that. That's ridiculous. It takes a lot of faith to let go of your Sunday mornings.
Can you tell us what your community, your church community, your community at large in Beacon, what are you guys experiencing right now? And what have you decided to do as a church in the middle of this pandemic?
Well, we're essentially experiencing, and politics aside, what we're experiencing is phenomenal leadership when it comes to this particular issue. Our governor is making decisions for us in a way that I think is healthy, in a way that I think is wise. We're basically on as close to a full shutdown as you could possibly be. You know, the essential stores are open. You know, our local food stores are open, which is essential. Obviously, hospitals are open, which is essential. The liquor stores have remained open, which apparently is essential. You know, gas stations are open, but they're encouraging no getting together of any kind. And our church has had to follow suit. I mean, I'm not bringing people to church and, you know, treating them that way and helping them realize, like, there's 30,000 cases of coronavirus in New York, and the next closest state has like 2,000. So, I mean, it's obviously happening here because of the major airports and the population density. And so we're trying to do our part in what they call limiting the curve. And, you know, we don't know how long it's going to last, but that's what's happening. And we made this decision 3 weeks ago, to do church online and to do our best with what we have.
Pastorally and as a church community, what have you decided to do? But even more so, why have you decided to do it? What's the thing beneath the thing?
Well, number one, we talked about how we have to have faith. And in this case, faith is letting go. So faith is not getting together. That's the act of faith right now. Faith is not getting together. I think Peter needed faith to walk on the water. I think the other disciples needed faith to stay in something that was sinking and not bail on it. So I think that there's, you know, different ways to do that. Right now, our faith is we're not gathering. The first question is the question God asked Moses: what's in your hand? What do you have right now in your church, in your technological capabilities? Don't immediately think, what do I need to get? First think, how can we max out and hit the ceiling with what we have? I think if you have the resources and the finances to live stream, I was counseled this way, to do your best to do it, to get it. But if you can't, what we've done is on Sundays, we send out a daily office prayer routine, and we send out a 25-minute podcast that I do based on the gospel reading of that prayer routine. On Mondays and Fridays, I'm on Instagram and Facebook Live at Salem Tabernacle. And I'm not asking my leaders to be there. I'm not asking the church to be there. I'm letting them know I'm going to be there. So Monday and Friday is just my time to say, hey, I'm here for you. It's almost like me logging office hours, right? I'm here for you. Come hang out, chit chat. You were on it this past Monday. It was just friends and family hanging out, talking. On Wednesdays, I recorded a 55-minute prayer service where I gave prayer topics. I prayed my butt off in front of a camera, in front of an empty room. We sent out the video last night, and that's what we're doing. This is a chance to empower your leaders and give them a lot of space to reach out to the congregation as well. And not underestimate the value of every person. People want to talk. Your average congregant is going to be chomping at the bit to get in touch with somebody right now. So we can just all live in this together and trust the church will be the church, even if we don't show up to a building.
To the person who's watching this video and they're saying, I'm not really a church person, maybe they are fill in the blank, ex-evangelical, ex-Catholic, former Catholic, whatever, recovering evangelical, or they just haven't been churched at all and they're just not interested. But yet something inside of their heart, their soul, their emotions. I think everyone's dealing with grief to some extent right now because we've lost the normal and this is new for everybody. So as a pastor, what would you say to the people watching who aren't really in a church or not actively committed to any church, but they're watching this video? So what do you say to those folks right now?
First of all, I would say for most of them, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for the way the church has been. I'm sorry for the kind of control that the church has tried to exert. For me personally, as a pastor, this is a chance for me not to just flaunt how great we are, but to take stock of where we've messed up, where we've haven't treated people the best way. When something's taken from you, you immediately realize all the things that were great, but you also realize the things you wish you did, you wish you said. And so I think the first thing I would do, and I'm doing this, is I'm realizing how important different opinions are. And so I apologize to anybody who we shut your opinion off. I'm realizing how different various experiences are. And I feel bad for the people who've had bad experiences and we just told them to have more faith and forget about it. I'm feeling bad about these things. I think the church should have been better. I would ask those people for grace and mercy and forgiveness. I think the church can come out of this with a new awareness, and I think they could be a huge part of it. I think it's time for them to speak and the church to listen. I would want to use this time to listen to people who've been burnt on church, because right now I don't get to go on Sunday. So this is a chance for me to sit back. God gave me 2 ears and 1 mouth, and this is a chance for me to listen twice as much as I speak. It's time to hear those people. I think we need to give voice to people who've been hurt by the church right now.
That kind of leads to the third question, actually, because the third question I wanted to ask you is this a paradigm shift for the church? In some ways, not really, kind of, yes, no? Is it in the middle? How do you think the church is going to exit this in the end?
Yeah, I think jumping back to a super Christian idea being that it's only at the very end of the Bible in the vision of the new heaven and the new earth where it says that there's no need of a temple. And so all these people saying, we're not going to gather the way we used to, I don't think that's possible. I don't think that's the grace we have right now. I think we need the building until we no longer need the building. And Jesus physically showing up is the time we will no longer need the building. I think, and I talked about this to my church last week, there's this crazy story where Jesus is in the temple and a man with a demonic spirit approaches him and yells at him and says, the demon is speaking, and the demon says, I know who you are. You're the Son of God. Don't torment me before the time. And what I told my church there is what you have is the demonic has all the right facts, but it doesn't have any love or any passion or compassion. And so all it is tormented by Christ. And I think the paradigm shift here is going to be that people right now are realizing they've only had a factual relationship with Christ and not an incarnate, real, embodied relationship with him. And to the people who don't go to church anymore because the church hurt you, that's why. We've been married to facts and not married to a person. Mm-hmm. So I can know all the facts about my wife, but if I don't get to know her person, our relationship's going to end very quickly. And so I think what I'm praying is that now that we've been separated from our norm, we could realize the moments where Jesus has been facts on paper to us, not the lover of our souls. And so I'm hoping that we get reacquainted with him, and then maybe can help other people get reacquainted with him and the church and be less rooted in downloading facts than we are into just getting our lives in touch with other people and hearing them.
I like your vision for how the lessons that we learn in the midst of this can help the church serve better.
Right now, we should be sitting back saying, here's the best we can do, but what can we learn? My schedule is cleared. This is a chance for me to sit with the Lord and say, where have I burnt people? Where have I messed up? All of us know where we're good. We're arrogant. We know where we're good. I need to start to get in touch with where I keep messing up. How could I be a better pastor? How could I empower people? How could I get people less reliant on me and more confident in themselves? Like that's what we're working on here. I hope.
What should we do now? What's the plan going into the future? Or not the plan, but maybe the heart, the vision of moving into the future.
Righty, here's what I think, and I think this one answer can satisfy both the Christian and the non-Christian and the ex-Christian. We need to realize that maturity is not needing to decide between emotions. Maturity is the ability to not have to decide which emotion I feel and make a choice. And I think right now people are feeling happy because they have more time at home. They have more time with their family. They have a less hectic schedule. I think other people are feeling totally broken because somebody in their family is sick and they lost their job and they're afraid. I think the happy people are deciding between, should I be happy or should I be hurting for the people who are broken right now? And I think the broken people are saying, should I just be miserable or should I just try to make the best of this? And I think immaturity is me having to make a decision to feel one of many emotions. I think maturity is being able to feel all the emotions inside of myself and live with them in some kind of harmonious way. And so what I think everybody needs to do is take a deep breath. I mean, Deepak Chopra said this, take a deep breath, and as you exhale, make no decisions. Just breathe in what's going on in your life and exhale what's going on in your life and live it. We're not human doings, we're human beings, right? We say this all the time. Like, just live this moment. People will remember forever who you are and what you do in this moment. And so own it. Feel proud to be alive right now and own this moment.
Pastor Bill Dandreano, Father Bill Dandreano, from Beacon, New York, pastor of Salem Tabernacle. Thank you for being with us, man.
JP, always great. Sacred Commons, you got a dope pastor, let me tell you. He's one of my best friends. He loves you guys so much. This man and his wife can weather storms. You're going to see it right now. Great family. If I lived in Ohio, I'd be going to his church.
Man, thank you. Thank you. And I might move to Beacon depending on how this goes, and I actually might go to your church. No, but we love you, man, and we're so thankful for you and Jacqueline and Sophia. I'm glad everyone's doing well, man. Keep us updated, keep us posted. That's it for you guys watching, so thanks for tuning in for this episode of CASA, for this part of it. Keep watching, we're gonna have more stuff.
Thank you so much, Father Bill, for being with us today and for sharing your wisdom. It was wonderful. Thank you so much. And for all of you, thank you for watching this episode. Thank you for watching this far in the video, because I know a lot of people just click and watch those first couple minutes. So thank you. Thank you for sticking it out to the end, to this point. And also, I just want to give a shout out to our friend Travis Green, who is the songwriter of the first song that we sang today. So if you liked it, you can check him out. Anyway, shout out to him for writing such a beautiful song. So we know that these times can be trying, they could be a little bit isolating. I know I've been dealing with happy and sad and scared all at the same time. But if we just take a minute and pause and breathe and remember that this will come to an end, and that there are things that we can take away from this experience, and on the other side of it all, we'll be grateful in new ways that we weren't before. I know that when family goes away, or whenever maybe you have to go on a business trip or something like that and you come home, it's just so exciting to see your husband or your wife or your kids, and you just have a new appreciation for the people that you love in your life. And I feel like that's what this is going to be for all of us. That when we see each other again, it's just going to be such a sweet reunion, and we'll just be reminded of the love that we have for each other. So until then, we want to leave you with this blessing. And as we go today, just remember that you are loved and that we love you, and we're so grateful and thankful for you. This last song that we're going to leave you with today is a blessing, and it comes from Numbers 6:24-26. The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face shine on you and be gracious to you. The Lord turn his face toward you and give you peace.
The Lord bless you and keep you. Make his face shine upon you. Be gracious to you. The Lord turn his face toward you and give you peace. The Lord bless you and keep you. Make his face shine upon you. Be gracious to you. The Lord turn his face toward you and give you peace. The Lord bless you and keep you. Make his face shine upon you. Be gracious to you. The Lord turn his face toward you and give you peace. Amen. 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 May his favor be upon you and 1,000 generations, and your family, and your children, and their children, and their children. May his presence go before you, and behind you, and beside you, all around you, and within you. He is with you, he is with you in the morning, in the evening, and you're coming, and you're going, and you're weeping and rejoicing. He is for you, he is for you. May his favor be upon you and 1,000 generations, and your family, and your children, and their children, and their children. May his presence go before you, and behind you, and beside you, all around you, and within you. He is with you, he is with you in the morning, in the evening, and you're coming, and you're going, and you're weeping, and rejoicing. He is for you, 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 he is for you. Amen. 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 Lord,